Greetings to our teachers. In this presentation, we will be talking about ethical guidelines for computer professionals. But first, let's start by discussing discussing who computer professionals are. Who are computer professionals? Computer professionals are the people who are simply an expert in computers or have been working on fields related to computers. They can be hardware engineers, engineers, system analysts, computer repair technicians, and many more. Any person with little or extensive knowledge of computer technology who is working in that field can be regarded as a computer professional. What are professionals' ethical guidelines? Professional ethical guidelines are ethical code that defines what actions can be morally right or wrong. It guides people on what to do and what not to. It is used by members of a group or an institution as codes they must follow while performing their duties. Ethical guidelines differs from profession to profession. A doctor's professional guidelines may not align with that of an army personnel, but there are some ethical guidelines that can be followed in almost every profession, and they are honesty, trustworthiness, loyalty, respect of others, adherence to law, doing good and avoiding harm to others. Why are professional ethical guidelines necessary? Ethical guidelines are necessary in a profession for many reasons. One of the reasons is to clearly lay out what kind of behaviors are acceptable in a workplace. People should know what type of behaviors are unprofessional so that they can avoid doing them knowingly or unknowingly. Ethical guidelines also teach people what kind of relationships people can have with their colleagues or their clients, and it lets them know the proper way to work for the betterment of a company and the customers. Guidelines also help professionals maintain their self integrity and also the integrity of the company. And it is very necessary to have and respect in the industry for a business and a worker, and it also helps in maintaining the respect and belief people have in the industry, which is important to have customers. And lastly, not all employees know about laws related to their industry, so the professional guidelines teach them what acts can be illegal. Effects of not following ethical guidelines. Being ethical and following the guidelines is very necessary. If or else many people have to face the consequences of the unethical acts done by a single person, as unethical acts are the major reason for most of the most of the cybercrime cases in the world. It can be said that effects of not following ethical guidelines has a huge negative impact on several people. Safety of people's data and institution system depends on computer professionals. So if a person does anything unethical, such as leaking classified information about the system's security, it will put all the data and systems in harm's way. Unethical acts done by any professional also hampers the integrity of a company and also the entire industry, as if any person does anything unethical, it creates a fear in people's mind, and users lose their trust in such companies and the technology itself. No matter who perform the act, the company and the users will have to deal with the consequences. Any unethical acts directly affects the company and users, but it also affects the job of several people, as whenever a company gets affected by an unethical act, they might have to shut down, and it has been the case for several small companies who have who cannot recover from the damages, which in result causes people to be unemployed. It also puts the future of several students studying in the same fields, because when the whole industry's integrity and trust is in jeopardy, it becomes difficult for new startups to begin, and maybe the industry itself can lose its impact on people, thus risking the future jobs of students. Unethical acts become an obstacle in development of technology. Now my friend will continue the further presentation.
Some professional ethical guidelines to follow. There are several ethical guidelines that the computer professional can follow, and one of them is respecting confidentiality. To respect the confidentiality of the company is crucial because the team and the organization cannot work if trust isn't present between the members. And breaking the trust and not respecting the confidentiality of the company not only affects the integrity of the company but also affects the users. Respect and protect personal privacy. Computers are very powerful, and with correct knowledge and resources, a lot of damage can be caused, which can affect the personal privacy of users. So, it is the ethical duty of a computer professional to follow proper law and respect the personal privacy of users. They must also work to reduce the possibility of cyber crimes as much as possible. Understand relevant law. Knowing the relevant laws regarding computers and rights of a user is necessary to make decisions while building anything and maintaining it. Unlawful and unethical acts may result in devastating effects of the company, such as use fines or closing of the company. Avoid harming others. In today's technology, harming other people without being physically in touch with them is easy, and these harms can be in the form of cyberbullying, harassing, or threatening. People can also be affected by using or manipulating their data, and our computer professionals may have explicit access and knowledge of many systems, making it even easier for them to do any harm. Therefore, it is a computer professional's ethical duty to avoid harming others and ensuring that as less as possible harm can be done to a person via technology. Do not assume the existing software is safe. A system can never be fully safe because as technology improves, people find newer ways to attack systems and affect users' data. So, as a computer professional, it is their duty to ensure that the security of a software is upgraded often. Being informative about the capabilities, safety, and limitation of a software. Although confidentiality is an important part of being an employee of a company, being informative about what platform can or cannot do without the users is also important. A professional should provide proper guidelines to the users on how they can be more safer and less vulnerable against the people who perform unethical acts. And if a system has some vulnerabilities, the personnel must provide the users with proper information on how the user company is going to make the platform better and how a user can ensure their safety themselves. Having clarity with the users is very important. The importance of laws in ethics. Ethics and law may sound similar, but there is a fine line between them. Laws help ensure that people follow proper ethics, but some legal acts may be unethical, and therefore not all laws can stop a person from doing unethical activities, such as reverse engineering other companies or a person's platform and building it as your own may not be illegal in most of the countries, but it surely is unethical. Trying to guess other people's password may not be illegal, but it is unethical. And there are many other examples such as online stalking, but still proper laws should be made and implemented as it helps in preventing people from doing such unethical activities. Although it may not prevent them physically from performing such acts, it sure helps in prevention and in pushing anyone who does the wrong. Government plays a huge role in ensuring the safety of citizens in any sector, and so providing proper laws to ensure a person does not do any unlawful or unethical acts using computers is very crucial. But still, there are many countries who do not have proper cyber laws, and this results in unethical cyber acts not being taken seriously and increase in cyber crimes. In countries where proper cyber law is not present, computer professionals must follow proper ethical guidelines themselves and encourage other people to follow them, and also make sure that any unethical or any unlawful acts are stopped as much as possible. Reasons why people do not follow ethical guidelines. One of the major reasons for people not following proper cyber ethics is not having the knowledge and proper awareness. Especially in developing countries where proper cyber laws is not implemented, people tend to not take computer ethics seriously and act against the ethics themselves, such as computer professionals buying pirated CDs of software without realizing how much it affects the company without who worked to build it. Although students are taught to follow proper ethical guidelines in an early age, they are only taught the points on what not to do. They are not made to understand how much impact an unethical act can have, and the students are also not made to understand that following proper ethical guidelines is crucial. Not having proper tools and resources is also a problem for developing countries, as to buy proper software and movies legally is quite difficult and not hassle-free. And many companies do not have proper guidelines and policies to guide their employees in doing what is morally right. Many companies also themselves do unethical acts, which creates a mentality among the employees that doing an unethical act may not be a big of a deal. And when tech institutions themselves perform unethical computer acts, other people also follow along and do unethical activities themselves. Lastly, although ethics are not laws, following them is necessary, and to follow proper professional ethical guidelines is important in every profession. For professionals, it is important because people's data and company system get at risk if they do not follow proper code. Not following proper guidelines may result into users, companies, and the whole industries getting affected. There are several guidelines that a computer professional can follow, such as respecting confidentiality, understanding law, and many more. But still, without proper laws, maintaining ethics in a country can be difficult. Although there are several reasons why people do not follow ethical guidelines, it is important to know by a computer professional that it is their ethical duty to work according to the ethical code and encourage others to do as well.